Hey, how's it going? So we were all noobs at some point looking to strike it big and make millions, and along the way we thought we found ways to beat the system and get rich quick. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as getting rich quick, and older players would use this idea to take advantage of some of the younger or more naive players. I'm sure you've fallen victim to at least one of these in the past, so today we're going to be counting down the top 5 scams we all fell for as noobs. Starting with number 5, we have the white apron scam. During the Pirate's Treasure quest, you're required to go into the back room of the food shop in Port Sarim, but the only way to get in is by wearing a white apron. And when you went inside the shop, you would see that white apron sitting in the back room with no way to get to it. But there would be people in the back room or standing around the shop offering to sell you their white apron for a couple hundred coins, which was quite a lot of GP 10 years ago. But you had to finish the quest, so it was a worthwhile investment, so you would eventually end up buying the apron from them. After you bought the apron, you went to the back room to finally get what you needed for the quest, and you probably picked up some more aprons so you could try to sell some yourself. What you probably didn't know at the time was that if you run next door to the fishing shop, you can just pick up a free white apron sitting on the wall, or you could buy them for 2 GP from the clothes shop in Varrock. Next up at number 4, we have the password scam. For this scam, a guy would call you over and tell you about a neat trick he just learned. Apparently, if you type in your password, Runescape will automatically turn it into stars. And he proves it to you too by typing in his password, but he's actually just typing in a bunch of asterisks. And that's so cool to you, so you have to try it also. So you type in your password, but you're disappointed when it doesn't show up as asterisks to you. The other guy assures you that it showed up as asterisks to him, so you trust him and don't really think too much about it and go along your merry way. But when you wake up the next morning with all of your items missing, that's when you realize what really happened. Later on in RuneScape 2, Jagex actually made it so that the game prevented you from typing in your password due to this scam happening so often. I don't believe the game will stop you if you try to type your password into old school RuneScape, but nowadays with email signups, username changes, and 2-factor authentication, I wouldn't be too worried if you accidentally leaked your password. For number 3 now, we have the Alt F4 scam. In this one, a guy would pick out someone who he saw wearing expensive items and tell them he knew about a glitch in the game. You would get curious and ask what it was, and he told you that it would make double of any item. So he told you how to make the glitch. First, drop your item that you wanted to duplicate, and then you had to hold down Alt and press F4. Back in the day, pretty much everyone played RuneScape in their browser, and what that combination of buttons does is it closes your browser window that you have open. Another mechanic of the scam was that at the time you had to pick your world from the RuneScape home screen, so it was much more difficult to switch worlds. So if you didn't remember what world you were logged into, then you had next to no chance of getting your items back. After 60 seconds, whatever you dropped would appear on the ground, and the scammer would take it and continue on his day. Now for number 2, this is more of a lure than a scam, but this was the Dark Wizards or Scorpion scam. How this worked was a guy would find a lower leveled player who had some decent armor and ask him to follow him if he wanted to see something cool. So he would take you to the Dark Wizards outside Varrock, or the Scorpions in Kharid, or sometimes even the King Scorpion in the Dwarven mines. All these monsters would attack you automatically as long as you weren't more than twice their level. And the scammer would reassure you that something cool is going to happen, you just gotta wait, so you just sat there and let yourself die. After you died, you probably wouldn't have been able to make it back there in 60 seconds, although in old school RuneScape the death timer is 30 minutes, so you'd have a pretty good shot at getting back in time to grab your items. And the number 1 scam that a lot of us have probably seen as noobs is trimming armor. This scam was so common that it's become a popular meme, and not only around the RuneScape community or the gaming community, but just in general as well. If you ask anyone about trimming armor, there's a good chance they'll immediately know that you're talking about RuneScape. How this scam worked is a guy would tell you that he can add a trim to your armor, and a lot of the time the guy would be decked out in expensive gear, but that didn't always have to be the case. You always wondered how it was possible to get that armor with the extra colors on it, and now was your chance. So you would hand over your armor to this good Samaritan, trusting him to work his magic and give you that beautiful trimmed armor. So after you accepted the trait, he logged out and you never heard from him again. Some IRL tears may or may not have been shed as well. I'm telling you man, those scammers were ruthless, they just did not care. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you fell for any of these scams, or if you remember any other scams that you saw back in the day. Also, my clan chat Mudkip is open, so feel free to come through whenever and meet people and chat. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, it really does help me out to know what kind of videos you like to see. And if you'd like to see more from me, please subscribe, it really would mean a lot. But I would like to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Really, Genie, you have to come now of all times?